I'm Florida personal injury attorney Justin Ziegler. Mike, that is not his real name, was a passenger in a Lyft vehicle. The Lyft vehicle was rear-ended by another vehicle that claimed that they didn't have enough time to stop because the roads were wet, and they crashed. Now, the police officer noted in the crash report that my client had very minor neck pain. That was the only injury that was complained of to the police officer, or at least what the police officer noted. Mike did not take an ambulance to the hospital. Insurance companies often pay less money for pain and suffering if you do not take an ambulance to the hospital after a rear-end crash. Mike went to the hospital the same day of the crash. He had a CT scan of his brain and his neck. Both the CT scan of his neck and brain showed that nothing was wrong, which was good for Mike's health, but that's not good for the rear-end crash case. So then Mike searched out for a lawyer to represent him in this rear-end crash. I spoke with Mike and he hired me, and he did not have health insurance like many other people injured in crashes. I was able to refer him to a medical group who had MRIs taken of his knee, of his ankle, of his neck, and his lower back. Mike had an MRI of his wrist, and it showed that he had mild fraying or a partial tear of his triangular fibrocartilage. That's located in the wrist. Mike also had an MRI of his ankle, which showed that he had some fraying of part of his ankle, the talar dome. Now, Mike did not have any surgery from this crash, and all things equal, surgery significantly increases the full value of a rear-end crash case. Geico insured the driver that hit the Lyft car, and that other driver had $25,000 of bodily injury liability coverage. Geico paid me the $25,000 bodily injury liability coverage within 1 month of the crash. That is a very quick time period to get a check-in. Most of the time, the driver who rear-ended you, their car insurance company does not pay you a check for $25,000 within 1 month of a crash. The reason why Geico paid so quickly is because Mike had significant injuries. He did go to the hospital, although he did not take an ambulance. He did go to the hospital the same day of the crash. And he also had no health insurance and medical bills. Now, Lyft's PIP coverage paid for a lot of Mike's medical bills. But the bottom line is when the injuries are large and the insurance policy is low in relation to the injuries, the other side's insurance company typically pays quickly. I didn't stop there. Fortunately, this crash happened at a time when Lyft carried a very large uninsured motorist insurance policy. Unfortunately, now Lyft does not have any uninsured motorist insurance coverage in Florida car accident cases, which is terrible. I was able to get Lyft to pay $45,000 to settle the case. Now, their opening offer was a lot less than that. I think it was somewhere around $17,000 or so. So once again, insurance companies often give you a first very low offer. The total settlement in Mike's case was $70,000. My attorney's fees and costs combined were 33 1/3% of the settlement. We were able to settle before a lawsuit. My client got $33,608 in his pocket. In other words, he got 48% of the entire $70,000 settlement in his pocket. It even makes more sense to hire an attorney in a rear-end car accident case if you don't have health insurance, because how else are you going to get to a doctor? An attorney can refer you to a doctor, and the doctor will wait on getting paid until the end of the claim, and then they'll get paid from the entire settlement. Now, most oftentimes, I encourage my clients, if they have health insurance, to use their health insurance coverage because they're going to get a good contracted rate. They're going to owe less money for medical bills. The medical bills likely will not be inflated, and it's one less argument you have with the other side's insurance company when they argue that the medical bills were totally outrageous and they're not paying the full value of the medical bills. Now, rear-end accidents are just one type of car crash cases. There's tons of other cases that you can get injured in, and there's many other strategies to maximize the value of a personal injury case. If you're interested in learning how to maximize the value of your personal injury case, watch this video here.